My name is Evelyn Harper. I'm 38 years old, a school counselor, a wife who once believed her marriage was unshakable, until one night my husband's Apple Watch lit up, and my entire world changed. Before I share my full story, a story of betrayal, awakening, and the strength it takes to walk away from pain, let me know where you're watching from in the comments. And don't forget to like and subscribe if you've ever made it through something you thought you couldn't. Trust me, you'll want to hear what happens next. The notification lit up Jonathan's Apple Watch while he was in the shower. I'd just come in to grab my reading glasses from the nightstand when I saw it. A name I didn't recognize and words that made my stomach drop. Miss you. Friday night at the New Haven apartment. I stood there, water running in the background, holding his watch like it might bite me. 38 years old, mother of one, school counselor who spent her days helping kids navigate their problems. And I couldn't navigate this moment. My hands shook as I set the watch back down, exactly as I'd found it. Trust. That's what I'd built my marriage on. Trust so complete it was almost stupid. Jonathan had my passwords. I had his. We shared calendars, bank accounts, dreams. 7-year-old Noah had his eyes, my stubborn streak, and both our hearts. We were supposed to be solid, but standing in our bedroom, autumn light filtering through the curtains we'd picked together, I realized I'd been seeing signs without seeing them. Late nights at the studio, his phone face down during dinner, the way he'd stopped asking about Noah's reading progress or my tough cases at school. 3 months of growing distance that I'd explained away as work stress. I heard the water shut off, grabbed my glasses, left the room. Normal movements, normal evening, except nothing would be normal again. For 2 weeks, I became someone I didn't recognize. Checked his pockets while doing laundry. Scrolled through our phone bill, noticed patterns, calls to a number I didn't know, always during his studio time. Each discovery was a paper cut, small but stinging. The AirTag felt wrong in my hand as I slipped it into his laptop bag. Me, Evelyn Harper, who lectured teenagers about healthy relationships and communication, was tracking her husband like some crime show detective. But I had to know. The first ping came from his office. Normal. The second from the coffee shop where he met clients. Expected. The third? An apartment complex in New Haven, over an hour from our main home. I drove there on a Thursday, told the school I had a migraine, parked across the street and waited, my wedding ring catching the light as I gripped the steering wheel. When Jonathan emerged at 2:47 p.m., he wasn't alone. The woman had auburn hair, designer heels, the kind of laugh that carried across parking lots. When he kissed her, not a friendly peck, but the kind of kiss we used to share, I took photos with shaking hands. Evidence. As if I needed proof of what my heart already knew. Her name was Diana Cooper. Found that out through some basic social media stalking that night, Noah asleep beside me after another nightmare. Diana Cooper, PR executive, married to Michael Cooper, high school history teacher. And then the twist that made me laugh, bitter and sharp. Diana Cooper, née Diana Mitchell. My college roommate junior year. The girl who'd held my hair back during my first heartbreak, who'd been at my wedding, smiling in navy blue. The email I sent Michael was simple. We need to talk about our spouses. Attached one photo, just enough to show the truth without being cruel. His response came within an hour. Old Orchard Beach Cafe, Saturday, 10 a.m. Michael looked exactly like his Facebook photos. Kind eyes behind wire-rimmed glasses. The slight stoop of someone who spent his days leaning over student desks. He stood when I approached. Old-fashioned manners that made my throat tight. I've suspected, he said after we'd ordered coffee neither of us would drink. She's been different. Distant. I kept telling myself I was imagining things. We sat there, two strangers bound by betrayal, sharing the little hurts. How Diana had stopped wearing her wedding ring because it irritated her skin. How Jonathan had suggested separate vacations might be healthy. The lies wrapped in half-truths, the gaslighting disguised as concern. What do we do? I asked, though I already knew. The evidence was spreading across the table between us. Screenshots, credit card statements, a reservation confirmation for Echo Lake Lodge in Vermont. Michael studied the papers like he was grading essays, methodical and thorough. Then he looked up, and for the first time in weeks, I saw my own pain reflected in someone else's eyes. We could confront them, he said slowly. Together. At the place they think is their secret. The plan formed over cold coffee and shared grief. We'd arrive first, set the scene, make them face what they'd done. No screaming, no drama. Just truth, served like the dinner they thought they'd be having. Echo Lake Lodge sat like a postcard against the Vermont hills, sugar maples blazing orange and red. I'd been here before. Our 5th anniversary, actually. The irony wasn't lost on me as Michael and I checked in under our real names, the desk clerk's smile never wavering. We worked in strange synchronization, 2 wounded people preparing a reckoning. The private dining room overlooked the lake, sunset lighting everything golden. I set the table for 4 while Michael arranged the evidence in neat piles. Financial records showing the affair's paper trail, photographs, printed emails Jonathan had sent from his secret account. I'd written my letter that morning, Noah still asleep. You chose to walk away from love, but I'm choosing to walk away from pain. Placed it at Jonathan's seat like a place card. You sure about this? Michael asked, adjusting a wine glass for the 3rd time. No, I admitted, but I'm sure about what comes after. The divorce papers were in my purse, already filled out. Custody arrangements favoring me, but fair to Noah's need for his father. Asset division clean and simple. I'd spent 2 decades building a life with Jonathan. I could spend an afternoon dismantling it. Michael had his own preparations, a photo album of their life together, ending with blank pages. The symbolism might have been heavy-handed, but grief doesn't care about subtlety. We lit candles, poured wine we wouldn't drink. Then we waited, 2 people about to flip their lives inside out. Oddly calm in the storm's eye. They arrived at 7:18, Jonathan's laugh carrying through the lodge before I saw them. Diana wore the red dress from their first photographed date. I recognized it from my surveillance. They walked in holding hands, glowing with stolen happiness. The moment of recognition played in slow motion. Diana's smile freezing. Jonathan's hand dropping hers like she'd burned him. A wine glass hitting the floor, Merlot spreading like blood across hardwood. Surprise, I said, my voice steadier than my hands. Evelyn, Jonathan started, but I held up my hand. Sit, both of you. They sat. What else could they do? Michael hadn't moved from his chair, watching Diana with an expression I recognized. The look of someone realizing the person they loved had become a stranger. How long? Michael asked quietly. 6 months, Diana whispered. 8, Jonathan corrected. And even then, even caught red-handed, he had to be more honest than her. 8 months. I laid out the timeline like presenting a case. Conference in Boston where it started. The lunch meetings that weren't. The weekend client emergencies. Each word was a nail in the coffin of our marriages. You went through my things, Jonathan accused, anger easier than guilt. You went through our vows, I shot back. The letter waited at his place. He read it, his face cycling through emotions. Anger, shame, something that might have been regret. Diana was crying, mascara running, the successful executive reduced to the girl I'd once comforted through breakups. There's something else, Michael said, voice cutting through Diana's tears. Isn't there? Something you haven't told me? Diana's face crumbled further. I was pregnant. I couldn't, it didn't fit the plan. The words hung there. I watched Michael process this. Not just the affair, but a child lost without his knowledge. His pain was so raw I had to look away. I lost a baby too, I heard myself say. 3 years ago. At this lodge, actually. Jonathan was at a conference, or so he said. I miscarried alone while he was building his career. Now Jonathan's face changed, shame finally breaking through. Ev, I was at the conference. I swear. Were you? Because I've looked back at everything now, John. Every trip, Every late night. How many were real? The financial records answered that. Dinners charged to company cards. Hotel rooms booked for clients. A pattern of deception predating Diana, though she might have been the first to last. Michael stood abruptly. I can't do this. But he wasn't running. Instead, he pulled off his wedding ring, set it gently on the table. 20 years, Diana. 2 kids, a house, a life. And you threw it away for what? For someone else's husband who'd probably cheat on you too? The accusations stung Jonathan visibly. Good. Let them both see their future in our pain. The divorce papers came out of my purse like a magic trick, making a marriage disappear. Sign them or contest them, Jonathan. Either way, I'm done. He signed. Right there, over our wedding china pattern tablecloth. He signed away 13 years. Diana watched with growing horror as the reality set in. She'd destroyed 2 families for a man who folded that quickly. Michael left first, pausing at my chair. You're brave, he said quietly. Braver than I am. Not brave, I corrected. Just tired of being afraid. 6 months later, I stood in my new office in Mystic, Connecticut, watching boats bob in the harbor. The Counseling Center for Women Navigating Divorce and Betrayal had opened 2 weeks ago. Noah was adjusting, seeing his dad alternate weekends, working with his own therapist to process the changes. The letter arrived on a rainy Tuesday. Evelyn, I don't know where I'm headed, but I'm headed there honestly now. Thank you for showing me I deserved better than comfortable lies, Michael. I'd written my own letter that morning, to the woman I'd been at 28, so desperate to be the perfect wife I'd lost herself completely. Told her about the journey ahead, the pain and the growth, the way breaking could lead to becoming. When Michael appeared at my office door, rain-soaked and carrying a manuscript, I wasn't entirely surprised. The power of the betrayed, he said, setting it on my desk. Thought you should be the first to read it. We didn't embrace. Didn't kiss. Just stood at my window watching the harbor. 2 people who'd been shattered and rebuilt themselves. For the first time since that October night, I felt genuinely light. Coffee? I offered. Coffee, he agreed. And maybe that's how healing begins. Not with grand gestures, but small ones. Not with new love, but with self-love. Not with forgetting, but with forgiving yourself for trusting too much. The future stretched ahead, uncertain but mine to shape. And that was enough. More than enough. It was everything.